How does a writer figure out what their story's about? What steps do they take?
First of all, we have to talk about what we mean by what the story is about. If I say the story is about the Grand Prix in Long Beach, that's one thing. If I say the story is about somebody overcoming his fear of driving, that's another thing. If I say the story is about good defeats evil, that's another thing. And the way I look at movies is the last one. It's proving a premise. What Laios Egri calls premise, it's not the same thing as the rest of Hollywood calls premise. The rest of Hollywood calls it's about the Grand Prix, that's a premise. But what Egri says is love conquers all, even death. That's the premise. Greed creates destruction. That's a premise. So looking at those things, that's what the movie is about. Once you decide what the movie's about, then you can kind of figure out who needs to be in that movie, who's the character that's going to help you prove that premise, and then what is the story that's going to help you prove that premise. Now you can go the other way around. There's so many ways to approach a movie. One is by deciding what your premise is and deciding who's going to fit that premise and deciding what the story is. Or you can decide who the story is about and what the premise is that you need to prove and how you're going to go about doing that, what they need to achieve. Or you can go about saying, well, I want to reach the treasure on Treasure Island, whatever that is. Who needs to do that? Well, maybe a pirate. And what is the goal? Maybe avarice creates destruction is the premise of the story. So you can start anywhere, character, story, premise, whatever you want to start at, but you're always going to have all those three things in your movie to make it work.
And I guess it would apply to any genre or types, whether it's a Hollywood tentpole, whether it's an art house cinema,
Yes.
foreign film, doesn't matter?
I think they apply to all types of film, but not every country has the same kind of view. Although, because Hollywood was so almost a monopoly of film in the 20s and 30s around the world, everybody saw those films and everybody saw that approach to making film. Most people around the world respond better to Hollywood films than they would, say, a German film, or even an Italian film, or a Greek film, or an Indian film. Although I love all those films. I mean, the Apu trilogy by Satyajit Ray, fantastic set of films. Shoot the Piano Player, a French film, fantastic film. Does not follow the 7 points exactly, does not follow a lot of other things, and he gets shot. You know, somebody commits suicide. Or Jules et Jim, you probably remember Jules and Jim, a French film from the 60s, I believe it was. Does not follow the paradigms that I'm talking about exactly. But there's a lot in there that is very Hollywood, but there's a lot in there that is not. But they're still valuable films to look at and to see that, well, if I want to do a different kind of film, maybe I want to do it that way. As I said before, there's no one way to make a film. And you want to see something different, but you still need to have the four wheels, the steering wheel, the accelerator, the brake.